one of the complaints that we often hear associated with Agile is there's too many meetings, that people are getting together and having ceremonies or events or other collaboration things. And this is often interesting to me, because what we should be doing when introducing Scaled Agile framework or Agile is leaning out the organization, leaning out the process. And what our coaches at Agile Rising often see is that what's happened is we've introduced a whole new set of meetings or ceremonies when implementing the framework, but we didn't take any of the existing meetings away. So there's often this meeting overload because we have all of these old standing meetings often that don't really align to the Agile way of working and might be more status meetings or providing reports or those sorts of things, not really collaborative decision making working sessions like we have in Agile. So one of the things that we really stress with leaders is, first of all, let's take a look at all the meetings that are happening and really look at what are the valuable ones, what are actually producing results, and what are the ones that are just there taking up time and effort. And what we really want to do is reinforce that the standing meetings that we have within Agile, things like your PI planning, your retrospectives, your iteration or sprint plannings, right? Those meetings that are happening on a regular and consistent basis, those are things that we should be using to address whatever the pressing issues of that day or that week are, right? It's not just planning out things on that medium horizon basis. It's things that we can use to react to things that are coming up. So one of the things that we often see is some emergency happens, right? That there's a problem in production, there's a customer that's unhappy, or maybe there's some people traveling in from out of town, senior leaders who are coming to discuss things. And we hear things like, the business owners or the senior leaders can't come to PI planning because they have these other important meetings that are coming up, or we need to schedule some emergency meetings to deal with whatever the pressing issue is. And that's often a symptom of not internalized the standing meetings that are already there, that are already available, that can be used for those sorts of things. So if there are senior leaders coming in and visiting the office and it happens to overlap with PI planning, well, just make it part of PI planning, right? They can come, they can participate in the overviews, and you treat those leadership meetings just like breakout sessions, like any other team, right? We shouldn't think of them as being competing things. They're not at all. We can just incorporate it in together, right? And similarly, can you use your iteration planning meeting? Can you use your scrum of scrums or your PO sync as things that we can just pull pressing issues of the day in? And you absolutely can, and it's usually the most efficient way of scheduling people, and you know that your decision makers are already going to be there and be in the meetings. But if we're not using those, right, if your organization is doing one-off meetings on a regular basis to deal with those, that may be something that you want to think about and maybe reflect on in your inspect and adapt or your retrospective. So why is that happening? Is it because people aren't really seeing the value of those meetings, or they haven't internalized the collaboration opportunity that those standing meetings have to avoid having to do the one-offs and figure out everybody's schedules and those sorts of things? So this is somewhere where an Agile coach can really be helpful to come in and review your meetings, provide feedback on, are you making the most efficient use of the ceremonies and events that are going on, or are there kind of two different systems running through your organization? So learn more at agilerising.com.